Hey guys, it's Rice with Argue Addicts. Today I'm joined with two of my friends, Hells and Kells. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and as always, enjoy the video. Alright, so I noticed that Kells did post a video on the text debate chat, which we did go over a few times, but just for recording purposes, it's about Pokimane and her cookie controversy, which is really fucking stupid.
When people are like, oh my god, $28 for cookies? It's 4 bags. That's $7 a bag. I know math is hard. Like, if you're a broke boy, just say so. Anyway.
And it's just super
I just hate her voice already. I already hate her voice. Don't even know who this is. Don't like it.
She's
The way she talks just bothers me.
Yeah. So I was talking to Kels about this before, but like she really does have this condescending attitude, where it kind of feels like she just always came from money. It's so dishonest and it's so distasteful. And she did release a statement later on, which Kels, thank you, also posted, where it was like she did not intend for that to come off so insensitive. And it wasn't intended to be a joke.
If you're just broke, just say it. What do you mean it didn't come up? What? I hate the idea of like you can just issue an apology. It's like, no, dude, like you said it, own up to it, just accept that you said it. Look, you're a Twitch streamer, like it's not a big deal that you call people broke. Accept that you're a scumbag. It's fine.
And I think that's like a lot of that's kind of where this topic came up from, of like hypocrisy in gaming spaces, because like so many streamers are kind of fucking hypocrites, like saying my streaming job is harder than your 9 to 5. No, it's
I hate that. Oh god, that one's so much worse.
But then like those same streamers will virtue signal and say some crazy shit like kill the rich, the poor are always suffering, living in their fucking $10 million mansions and shit like that. It's like, who the fuck do you think you are trying to speak for anyone else but yourself?
Well, like, don't get me wrong, a lot of that comes down to is people transitioning from hobby to actual job. And that is what makes them think that they have, like, oh, this is so much harder than my 9 to 5, blah, blah, because you enjoyed what you did, but you made it your job, so it's no longer a hobby, so it's straight up just not as fun.
Right, but can we realistically say and tell people that...
No, you can't.
No, okay, then, yeah.
No. This isn't even devil's advocate. This is just them. This is me just explaining how that phenomenon happens. It's just people not realizing that, you know, when you make something into a career, it does lose a lot of luster. If you don't stream, you don't eat.
That's fair.
Yeah.
That's a really good point.
Meat Canyon is like one of those YouTubers who's come out before, and he was saying, hey, like, even if you know, whether you work your 9 to 5 at the government or at a grocery store, or you're working like at home as a streamer, you're still gonna feel the same way. It loses that spark. It loses that rose-tinted glasses of, oh, this is so awesome. It still becomes a job.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's fair.
I mean, like when you get to like the higher levels of like this is only because I just started watching him, like Asmongold or even like, you know, Critical. It's a lot less of it where it's like, yeah, I'm so used to this lifestyle. I've always been a gaming nerd. Like this isn't a big deal to me. But, you know, for the people who are in like the middling, like Pokimane and those types of YouTubers, they're going to disappear eventually. They're not going to be a long stay because they don't bring anything interesting. They're not funny. They're not, you know, pick whatever you want. And not even to really hate on them, but they're run of the mill.
Oh, absolutely. I think a lot of them are already starting to fade out from the front line of Twitch as a platform, and a lot of new, really more talented people are starting to come back in. I think I heard someone say that like popularity on the internet comes in waves, where people who are like super talented and have a lot of personality get put on the front page, and then eventually they get drowned out by whatever's popular, like fucking Fortnite or whatever game is really in at that time, and then it just goes back and forth from there, from personality to whatever's popular in the gaming space.
Oh yeah, that makes me think of Laser Beams, because Laser Beams used to do Madden content and everything like that, and now the guy
Madden content, that's wild.
Yeah, years and years ago, you know, this Australian guy was just, you can go back and look at his old videos of him learning Madden and stuff like that, doing Ultimate Team, and now he plays Fortnite and I think Minecraft maybe. But you know, the guy is changing, he's evolving with the scene, and that's why he's risen to 22 million subscribers. And these people have to evolve because there's a lot of games out there that are going to start dying. Like the MOBA is dying right now.
Mm-hmm.
And
Oh,
yeah,
really? They're not popular right now?
no, like League of Legends, even though it's still huge, it's still a dying genre. Think of Smite. Smite came out with Smite 2. Nobody's watching it. I think they had a collective of maybe 1,500 viewers about 2 weeks ago on this brand new game that you have to pay $30, $40 to play.
Wait, I have a question about that though. Do you think it's the genre dying, or is it like a symptom of streaming kind of evening out? Because from what I have seen, it appears that streaming is like it like really took off like 3, 4, 5 years ago, and now it's kind of leveling down again because after everyone isn't so many more, they have more content, they have more things to do. So like I'm not saying that it's not true, but is it because MOBAs are dying, or are you saying like streaming specifically isn't working? Like are the player counts down?
I mean,
We can find out.
yeah, in terms of the game, I believe a lot of people just aren't playing it because they haven't added a lot of content to this second version of the game, right? And I don't think it's. I think it's a combination of the two. I think there are a ton of people watching. Okay, like League of Legends Worlds had the most viewers they've ever had before. It was like a
Oh
blowout.
wow.
But I think when we tie back, right, to like streamers phasing out, not going with what's in the flow, we have to remember like we have a new generations coming up, right? So what we
True.
used to watch 10 years ago when we were in middle school is not what middle schoolers are watching right now. And
Mm-hmm.
then
I mean,
well,
PewDiePie doesn't even upload anymore, really. He's practically done.
he's doing lifestyle videos. He's not doing horror games anymore.
And his
And
lifestyle videos are like once every 2 months.
yes, he has a child now and stuff. So, and then what I was talking earlier with Rice, I was talking about how Queso has blown up very big. And
Mm-hmm.
Queso is one of those guys who I don't think is a hypocrite because this guy's fairly fresh and blowing up. But
Mm-hmm.
he still lives in the trailer that he lived in before, even though he's got all this money coming in. He's employed his mom to clean his house and his dad to help pick up his food. Like this guy's really humble. He doesn't have to cuss to be funny. He's just who he wants to be. And I think that's great for him. And that's why I think he's blown up, is because he's just naturally funny. He's not one of these people that are forcing it.
There's a really good comparison in the fitness space.
Mm-hmm.
About a year or two ago, have either of you heard of Sam Sulek?
Yeah. Yeah.
Anything for you, Gals?
Oh, I'm sorry. What did you say?
Have you? I was saying it's similar to like Queso in the fitness space. There's a guy called Sam Sulek. Have you ever heard of him?
Oh, I have heard of him.
So one of the big things with him is not only like when it comes to fitness, like the more yoked you are, the more popular. That's definitely a thing, right? But
Mm-hmm.
one of the things that he does is he literally just has like a Rode microphone on his collar, and he films on his iPhone in a car. That's it. And he'll do like 25, 30-minute videos of him just like talking like a normal guy and be like, yeah, I'm gonna do this, and I'm just kind of gonna go out there. I mean, Grant, like, okay, so he pulled it up. That guy's ridiculous. Just, I don't feel like getting into it. But my point is, like, the content of just, like, talking and hanging out, almost like how, in Japan, you can, like, rent a friend. I don't
Yeah.
want to say that, but it's almost that. Where it's like you're hanging out with, like, your streamer, and it's like, dude, a lot of people are losers. Like, they need someone to talk to, and that's what it is.
It's
It's like,
humble.
it's humble.
People like that humbleness. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean?
Well,
And that's
especially
why,
after, like, yeah, like Mr. Beast and all that,
yes, like, do you want to hang
Mm-hmm.
out with the guy who does all this huge, extravagant stuff? Maybe once or twice, but like, is he really going to be your friend at the end of the day, right? Like,
Yeah.
probably not really. And I think that's why Asmongold gets a lot of attention. The guy still
He
lives in
really
his
does.
house,
He's
and
just
it's
a
a
chill
mess.
dude.
But like, his house is absolutely messy. But people like seeing that because it makes him human, not some super rich guy who's untouchable, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
people don't like the untouchable.
Right. I think that's like Charlie balances that line because every time you see his like setup, it's a little ridiculous. My man has like a claw vending machine and all this other shit in the background, but he's still seemingly down to earth.
Yes, the guy has heart. He's got soul. He levels down the playing field for sure.
Oh, I've got a random question for you that's tied into this. Um, so like I said, I just recently, like literally last 10 days, I've been looking at Asmongold, and it's been cool. I've been enjoying it. But, on the point of Queso, Sam Sulik, of like humble YouTubers, humble streamers,
Hmm.
this morning I woke up and I'm making my breakfast, and I like having something on in the background in the morning. It's probably really unhealthy, but I like having something like in the background. So I turn on Asmongold and I'm just like casually listening to it, not really even watching it. And it's like it is nice to just have that like voice echoing, Dude, a lot of
Yeah.
people are losers. Like they need someone to talk to.
Oh
And
yeah,
that's
we
what it
always
is.
have something going on in my house. The TV has always been on since I was growing up.
Hmm.
So I'm used to like I like having the YouTubes on.
I mean, I don't think
And
it's any worse than having like music in your background, right?
I don't think so. I mean, me personally, it's my comfort, filling
Yeah.
the silence.
Yeah. I think moving on from this, because again, like what Asmongold is really genuine, like you guys were saying. I don't know if you saw his response to whatever was going on in like Palestine and stuff like that, but it wasn't received very well.
Nah, I have no idea about that.
I've been a very long time Asmongold viewer, and a lot of people say he's super misogynistic because he doesn't want to play females in games and stuff like that. But like, I saw it all. I'm very hip to what's going on with him.
Yeah, so
Oh, I didn't
effectively
realize you actually watched him. That's funny.
he said he made some statements about like what was going on in Palestine and Israel and stuff like that. People didn't really like it, and his response was, "You're right. I'm kind of an asshole." Which I mean, it's a more fair response than what anyone else would have given reasonably.
Wait, I'm sorry. I think I missed it. So you're saying he gave a response, people didn't like it, and he goes, "Yeah, I'm just kind of a prick."
Yeah,
Well,
effectively.
I will
Uh,
say this, Richard, since you're not fully up to date on what happened, he actually got banned on Twitch for 2 weeks about it.
this is true.
And so he posted a YouTube video saying, I'm a jerk. This is how I grew up. I'm reflecting on myself. I'm a little out of touch with myself right now and I'm not happy. So I'm going to spend these 2 weeks coming back to Earth. I'm going to clean my house. He just did like a full revamp of himself because of it.
Yeah,
See, that's such a cop out. I hate when people do that because, like, everyone does that, though.
Well,
Like,
here's
even
the
if it's
thing.
true, like, they always say that. Anytime someone gets in controversy, they always go, "Yeah, I messed up. I need to focus on me."
Well, here's the other thing though. He was one of the founders and like leaders of OTK, like the organization. He stepped down. He stepped down from his main role. I think he stepped down in Starforge Systems. Like he fully pulled back because he was saying that like he just has too much going on and he's exhausted and like it kind of made him realize, I guess,
Why
personally
is
that
everyone
like
spiraling about YouTube
too
banning
far-
adblockers?
too
Chill.
far gone
You can
in the
just use
sauce,
pot. This is pot.
Yeah,
don't
and I
know.
guess that's kind of like Charlie. I can,
Hey
yeah,
guys,
I can
so
understand it that way, but it is true though. Like, literally everyone says the same thing.
Yeah, I'm a shit person. I guess I gotta fix it.
I think like one of the key details that made his apology just a little different though was that he kind of admitted that he's kind. I don't want to say sociopathic, but he openly admits that
Self-absorbed.
he doesn't have empathy. I think that's what he said. Like he's always had this like thing in his head that made him not really give much of a shit about anyone else and what they were going through. So I guess
Based.
yeah, right.
Yes.
So he's always had like a lack of empathy, where like a lot of these other streamers and YouTubers will do something really fucked up, say that they do have an insane amount of empathy, and then they'll just go back and do the same thing right after, right? I think at least Asmongold admits that he just doesn't have that amount of empathy for other people, the way that, or the same way that these other streamers or YouTubers say that they do.
He basically said, "Look, guys, I'm autistic. I can't help it."
Right.
Look, I mean, hey, look, look, I don't even know what he said, so I don't even really care either way. I'm just saying, like, I mean, look, who cares? It's your opinion,
Yeah.
Like you say, look, it's a controversial topic. You're gonna piss somebody off. It's literally Israel. Israel is the most controversial thing ever. We
Yeah.
don't like it is literally, especially in American culture, it is like there's no right answer no matter what. You could give a full factual structured statement about why you believe this, and someone would just ignore it and be upset. Like, who cares?
Absolutely.
That's kind of my opinion with like that is like saying anything like it's not worth touching. Just don't fucking touch it. Like
Yeah.
you will never make anyone happy. Like, there's no good like have your opinion. It's whatever.
Mhm.
Well, that circles back to like the black and white video you had played earlier. Is that like not everything is black and white? A lot of stuff is gray, and I fully agree with that sentiment. And like, there's people on both sides to every problem. Like,
True.
Yeah.
others tend to forget that and or hate the other person on the other side, and I don't think that's fair.
No, it's not.
Mhm.
You haven't walked in their shoes.
Yeah, no, that's true.
There's very few things that are black and white, and honestly, even then, it kind of comes down to what you consider moral, right? Like it gets really, really quick that way. And
Mhm.
like a good example is like at work, um, I'm very conservative, and I have
Yeah.
one of my favorite people there is our lesbian coworker. And we completely disagree on everything, but like I just don't care enough. Like there's no point in me getting upset. I'm not gonna change her. I like her as a person. If
Mhm.
you're a good person, it's not that big a deal.
Right. Because
Oh
at least
yeah.
you can have a conversation about it.
Yeah, I brought something up to a friend the other day, and he was like, I don't even know like what your religion is. I don't know what your politics are. And I said, yeah, I don't need anybody to know because I have friends all over with all kinds of opinions, but I
Mhm.
like you. I think you're a good person. I think you work well with me. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I don't
Well,
need my
because
friends to
yeah,
know.
I'll say this. The only I wouldn't even call this a caveat. I think that if you are a good person with good intentions, then the reason we disagree is just because of something else, and you still want the best for society too. If you're a bad person, I think that's a little different. But if you believe what you believe because I believe you're a good person, and this is how you think things would get better overall.
Yeah, agree to disagree and move on.
Because
Yeah,
good.
no, that's it. I'm just saying, like, as if your personal, like, my personal belief system is people are inherently good. So
Mhm.
when I disagree with someone, it's not really a big deal. Like, I might think, yeah, you're an idiot, but at least I assume that you have the right intentions. I always assume that.
Absolutely. We're probably going to end up touching on this exact topic a few times. So a lot of the other talking points will circle back to this,
Yeah, it's
one
fine.
way or another. Like the final topic we're probably going to touch on today, which we'll probably continue in another video as well, in whether or not the CEO of the healthcare insurance company assassination was valid or acceptable. We'll probably end up talking about like the morality of that, anyways. But
Are we touching that?
we can. I probably will.
Or
Do
what
it.
was the next topic? Or was
Um,
that the next topic?
no.
Well, let's do that. Let's do the topics. Let's at least attempt to do all the topics.
True. So movie reviewers. I know this is a topic that you want to talk about.
L's.
Oh, yes. Oh, I'm sure Cal's has a lot to say on this too.
Yeah.
I've got a good one though. I'll start this off and then I'll just be quiet because I have to get it out.
Mhm.
When it comes to reviewing movies, I think that I personally believe that you should probably, depending on what you like, if you're a real movie buff, then you're probably going to see it anyway, whatever the movie is. If you don't watch a lot of movies, then you should probably look at reviews. You should find a couple reviewers you like and you kind of agree with most of their opinions. That way you'll know if you like a film. That's how I think you should try and look at movies, especially if you don't watch a lot of them.
Mhm.
If you just flip on Netflix and just click the first thing you see, you're not a movie buff. You're not. It's brain rot. That's what you're doing.
Right.
Um, one of the ones I sort of liked. There's a couple that I've been seeing recently that I like them. I think they're funny, but I'm just losing so much respect for them because they're not watching the movie. Is Reaper and Critical Drinker. Critical Drinker kind of has some boomer takes. Like he's a little right leaning. He always has like his little memes, but Reaper is another kind of right leaning YouTuber as well for movie reviews, but they're not watching the movies. Like
Right.
they're missing basic plot details or they're ignoring plot details. And like I don't even like some of the movies. Some of the movies I think are terrible anyway, but they're just like ignoring like crucial elements that are that are mentioned.
Mhm.
So I guess like for me, movie reviewers tend to be the bottom of the barrel when it comes to commentary. I mean, everyone has an opinion and everyone, you know, everyone thinks they're right when it comes to movies. Everyone has their own taste. So reviewing movies is, I don't know, it seems like easy content to make. And then specifically, Critical Drinker ended up making a short film, and it sucked. It's a 45-minute short film, and allegedly he's written books before. Apparently, he's a published like novelist, and the short film was just terrible. It was horribly written. It was like the most generic spy CIA thriller ever. All right, I'm done. Pass.
Kels. Why don't you go ahead? Because I think that all of us are probably going to have relatively the same take on this, but I think
Hells.
I had to find that you're probably a little more passionate about the subject than I am.
Oh. I mean, maybe I'm a little out of touch, but I will say this. Els and I, back in high school, I would go over to El's house. We would look up IMDb and watch the worst rated movies. Like, what was it? Bigfoot versus DB Cooper.
Oh God, that was terrible.
It's so bad, but it was really fun because
Yeah.
just watching bad movies. Oh shoot.
Are we just tossing out the username thing?
What username thing?
You both failed at it already. You both said
Fuck.
both already.
Oh shit! Just put in. We'll put bleeps.
I was just saying because I'm still doing it, but you both failed.
I'm sorry.
I'll probably just like do a voiceover like Hells.
Hells.
Okay.
I'll make an audio clip. Hells.
I'll send you guys the video after editing.
I don't know. The most recent thing I can think of is I watched the new Joker movie called Joker Folie à Deux, which is like.
Oh, you did see it.
I did. I watched it like this week actually, and I was wondering like, okay, what did the critics say about this? And they really didn't like it. I think on Rotten Tomatoes it got like a 31% or something like that. And they didn't like it because it was more of a musical than anything. And like, I don't know, it seemed very split. So like someone would be like, here's an opinion, like I think this second version is superior to 2019 Joker in every way, but there's still a bunch of stuff that's wrong with it, and they still gave them a 2.5 out of 4, right? So I don't know, I just think critics, obviously
I think they're
critics,
worthless.
yes, I mean, here's the thing, right? It's all
They're the same as
biased.
average people. It's the same thing as like asking a random guy what he thought, because that's all you're doing. Like, there's
Yeah.
no credential to judge, like, especially a movie. Like, at least like a painting, there's like more like criteria, like composition, and like, but like, for a movie, it's so much harder to have like concrete things. And I think there are some things you can be more concrete about, but then it comes down to like, do you even like the message of the film? Because there's certain movies that no matter how good it is, I'll never like the message.
True.
Yes, and like for people who like, okay, you don't even like musicals, then why did you watch something with Lady Gaga in it? And like Joker already has
Right.
musical aspects to it, but I think every single scene where they're singing, it's not actually happening. Well, not every single one, but in some of the scenes, he's not actually singing in front of everybody with the piano behind him, and you know what I mean, like all this jazz. It's part of his illusion, like it's part of his illness that these things aren't happening, but he's watching it and he thinks he's actually in this musical mode on a stage. It's part of his illness. And when people watch a movie regarding someone with mental illness and he's a serial killer and he finds this woman who's crazy about him and blows the freaking place up, obviously they're not going to like it because they're not into that. So why are they criticizing it? Like, it's not their thing, like
Well,
Richard said.
Yeah, well, that's what I did with this one is I don't want to see a musical. I think the first one was a standalone, and I know I'm not gonna like the second one pretty much no matter what they do. I mean, it could have been. I've heard some plot things I don't necessarily like about it, but even if it's a good plot, I'm not gonna like it because I don't like musicals. Like the highest that movie could ever be for me is probably a 6, even if it's amazing, because I just don't like musicals. My favorite musical is Oliver Twist, and it's like a 7.5, maybe. Like I just don't like them. They're not my thing.
Yeah, what's another one I'm thinking of? Oh, it's
I mean, you can count any Disney movie practically.
one second. I'm trying to think of it. They sing Roxanne in it, and it's got Nicole
Rock of
Kidman.
Ages?
No, Moulin Rouge. That's what I'm thinking of. It's a
Yeah, I never saw
2001. Oh yeah, 2001 movie, called Moulin Rouge, and they add like, El Tango de Roxanne in the beginning, or no, it's actually towards the end, and they have the guy who played Obi-Wan Kenobi. What's his name?
Ewan McGregor?
Ewan McGregor. Yes. I love that movie, and I don't even like musicals either. I'm not super into them, but I thought that movie was so well done. And let me see what the reviews were on that.
I think that's kind of it's what I was saying, that like we all probably have the same take for different reasons naturally, but
Well, yeah.
yeah.
And that's the other thing too with like averages is like don't get me wrong, when it comes to like a musical, I understand that is a ridiculous amount of effort compared to a regular film,
Yeah.
but that it's still not my thing. So it
Yeah,
doesn't really
exactly.
matter to me how much effort's in it.
Mhm.
Like a decent thing for me to do as an example would be like what did I see? I don't know. It doesn't really matter. Like, just because there's effort in it doesn't make it good. Sometimes the extra effort does make it better and elevate it, but it doesn't make it a good movie. Like, just because you spent your whole life on it and it has a lot of scenes doesn't make it any good.
Yeah.
And, another thing is like the context of the movie. Musicals are especially dangerous because you have the context of it's a musical and the context of it's a film. So where does your rating lie? Was the music amazing and it's a 10 because the music was perfect, but the story sucks. So like where does that fall?
Mhm.
And then obviously the ideal musical would be both coming hand in hand,
Yeah.
but obviously that doesn't happen all the time.
Mhm.
Now I have.
Go
Oh,
ahead.
go ahead.
You're fine. Good.
You go, Mr. Host, please.
Okay.
Mr.
I agree.
Rice.
I agree with both of you in that I don't like movie reviewers, but particularly because I don't like reviewers in general of most things, because it's so hard to define what is good taste, right? Because I mean, there's a lot of things and a lot of foods and a lot of music, beverages, so on and so forth that I would like that you guys naturally wouldn't. Like I don't know if you guys
Oh,
ever
yeah.
had you guys ever had pork blood soup?
Yeah, that sounds
No.
horrible. That
Yeah,
sounds
exactly.
mad Asian, and I would not like that.
Exactly, but I love it, right? Because I grew up with that kind of stuff. So
Yeah,
it's one of
Level,
those
you
things
ever
where
had like a blood sausage?
I have,
Oh, wow, he's more cultured than me.
because we also have blood sausages in Vietnam.
You wouldn't get it.
I don't get it. I don't care.
But yeah, it's just because it's so hard to define what is good taste, right? So whenever it comes to these different forms of media, and more in line with like movies and stuff like that, how do you define what is a good movie realistically, right? Because I thought the Black Adam movie was really fucking good, but that's because I like action movies, and sometimes I just want to watch something to turn my brain off to. And in terms of musicals, I unironically really like the Shrek musical on Netflix because I thought it was really fucking funny. But yeah, I can understand why some people wouldn't like those films and wouldn't like those movies. But then like you go into these review pages and it's like these things are fucking awful and the worst thing since fucking Adolf Hitler. And it's like, what are you talking about? It couldn't have been that bad, right? Because it wasn't. I don't think it was.
Yeah, and I mean that's exactly my point. It's a matter of like the context of the film. You know, is I don't know, Black Adam's a perfect example. Black Adam is never going to be pick
Yeah.
whatever famous movie you want. It's never going to that's not the purpose of it. The purpose of it is entertaining superhero action movie. Um, you know, it's something to turn your brain off. Here's a better example. Fast and Furious.
Oh, fuck,
There's
yeah.
a lot of them, and they're all bad for the most part. The first three are pretty good, but like as far as what they are is they're just turn your brain off action. Is that a bad thing? No, but I mean, I, I think you can get into like the nuances of like genre by genre. I think you can rate things a little more objectively, but as an overall score, I've never enjoyed that. Like, if we took Fast and Furious, Black Adam, and Friday the 13th, two of them you can score relatively similar, but you can't do that with Friday the 13th. So having an overall out of 10 is stupid. I think if you add like a, for an action movie, for this type of film, like that's fine. Here's a good one.
Kells.
Oh, I messed up too. Cal, did you ever see We're the Millers?
I have.
It's hilarious.
It's very
It's
funny.
so good. That's like that, like a comedy, especially. Like, there's nothing I would change in We're the Millers. So to me, that's basically a perfect film. You know what I mean? Is
Yeah.
it my favorite film? No. But if there's nothing I would change and it made me laugh the whole time, is that not what a 10 should be if it fulfilled everything it wanted to do?
Yeah.
And it's funny because Rotten Tomatoes gave it a 48% and TV Guide gave it 44%.
And that's what I'm saying, right? Like you talked about the Joker movie earlier, and a lot of us would agree that I guess a lot of people who have seen the movie would agree that the first Joker movie was pretty good, right? But when you go into like IMDb and Rotten Tomatoes and shit like that, they'll tell you it's a really bad fucking movie, which is another reason why I don't like movie reviews. Is because they have like this weird agenda that they need to fill, or they have like special interests that they need to respond to, right? In that, like, people were saying the first Joker movie was too fucking violent, but the first Joker movie came out the same time John Wick did, right? And comparatively, one of them is
That's
definitely
funny.
much more fucking violent than the other. But people were praising the John Wick movie as like one of the greatest pieces of cinema to ever exist. And it's like if you're going to say that a movie is objectively really violent, when another movie around that time with a lot more violence came out, where's the standard? There isn't one, because you don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
Yes, and like we recently were rewatching Star Wars Episode 3, right? And we're gonna go through the whole thing. But one thing we noticed, the transition from Lucasfilms to Disney. They've
Yeah.
taken away so much of the violence and the gore, and it's just not the same anymore. But I bet you the Disney productions probably have better reviews
Yeah,
because it's now made for children instead of adults.
absolutely.
I think Disney can be its own topic. That's a
Yeah,
massive thing.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to bring that up. But anyways,
No,
You're
no, no.
good,
But
you're
you're right though. It's larger production films sometimes have a like sharper lens on them, and then other times they just get a pass because hey ho, it's a billion-dollar company and they pay us.
yes, and like, Disney heads, that's a whole other topic too. Like those people.
Yeah.
I'm sorry I said those people, but it's true. You are a certain breed.
Yeah.
Very
You're
certain breed of people.
they're their own race, and it's terrible.
But yeah, like circling back to what you said, Rice, is that like, Joker 2, most of the critics are saying it was horribly boring, and I'm like, it just wasn't your taste. Like it's, it wasn't meant for you. So
Right.
stop having a voice on it if you just think it was complete garbage and you expected it to be.
Oh, and just because I know it's going to get brought up somewhere somehow, there are movies that can be objectively bad, but it's on the extreme part of the spectrum, right?
Oh yeah, there are objectively bad. There is
Yeah.
objective bad stuff. Like there is bad acting. There is bad camera work. There is bad, picket.
What I'm referring to in this case is movies like Cuties. I think unanimously we can agree that that is objectively a bad movie for very obvious reasons. So if anyone goes into the comments and says, so you don't think Cuties is a bad movie, that is not what I'm saying. Don't clip that out of context, please.
My man wanted to talk about cuties.
I do not want to talk about
He's been dying to talk about it since it came out. Yeah, I don't
Damn,
know
bro.
who stamped the approval on that shit. That's
Yeah.
crazy.
I just want to get very clear there is
Well,
an objective bad movie, and that's one of
we
them.
can have a conspiracy podcast. I can talk all about that.
Oh, absolutely.
But
Diddy
yeah.
sent in that movie.
With films, it's I don't know. It's one of those ones where like film is art. Art is not entirely subjective. I'm never going to say that. I don't agree with art being 100% subjective, but it is to a pretty substantial degree. Like you have to. It's a black and white thing. Obviously, it's a little subjective, but also it is a little objective. Like there's
Fair.
the grandmasters in painting, the wonderful buildings, the Pyramid of Giza. Like these are objectively beautiful things. But it might not be your favorite thing ever, but you can at least acknowledge it. That's the big thing, is at least acknowledge it.